Our next guest is an accomplished former educator that brought her passion for open-ended play and imagination to Durham-based futon company Nugget Comfort. Her expertise lies in social growth and curating customer communities for digitally native brands. She organically grew Nugget's social audience to over 300,000 followers within 2 years, leading to Nugget's now cult following in the kids and family space. This under 30 business phenom now leads Nugget's product team as Chief Product Officer, developing products that are the perfect balance of fun for kids and beautiful for adults. She is passionate about diversity and inclusion and using social platforms for good. Let's welcome Hannah Fussell.
All right. Well, listen, I obviously this whole day is really special, and it's particularly special to me because I'm able to introduce to you all people that I admire and that I think the world of and have watched, sometimes from a distance, and sometimes up close and personal around their work and how they think about their own reinvention stories, how they live their life out loud. I'm going to kick it over to Hannah Fussell, who is the Chief Product Officer at Nugget Comfort, which are these great little couches. And she's going to describe this better than I will, but that my son has like two of them, and we've gifted a few, and we're giving away one. So you're going to get very familiar with it, and you've seen it kind of throughout. But she's a founder and the chief product officer for this company, and has really helped it grow exponentially to now the 11th fastest growing company in the country, the number one fastest growing company in North Carolina. So she's doing something right. So Hannah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here talking with you, Jess. And I hope everyone had a great morning, and has a great day of reinvention. I love it. I just love everything about this program.
Yay, yay. And it's a new year. It feels fresh. So I think your story as we walk into 2021 and get reset and apply some of the things that we're learning, I think that your story will really resonate because it is so unique. And so rather than me do my fumble over it, you lived it. So why don't you just lay that out for our audience, and I'll ask you a couple of follow-up questions.
Sure. Should I start way back in the beginning?
I think way back, when you were born. No, just start with your passion and how you got into education, and then take us through where you are now.
Sure. So yeah, I went to Carolina. I came down from New York, ended up at Carolina, and had some really great kind of classes and met some really excellent people that were at Carolina on scholarship, and just people that taught me a lot about North Carolina education system. So I got really interested in what they talked about as this massive educational inequity. It was not my experience to experience educational inequity. My mom was a teacher, so she was always able to get me into international and private schools on scholarship. So I was able to go to really excellent schools, and I had just a really blessed kind of background because of my mom's passion for education. So, learning about the public school systems in North Carolina through these friends and through these classes was really eye-opening to me. And there was one program that really stuck out to me that a lot of people were joining. It was called Student U. So I joined Student U as a teacher. And I think because education is kind of in my family, we have many generations of educators in my family. I just really loved it, and I really took to it. I think I'm just a natural born educator, and I really just enjoyed every bit of it. My nature is to work really, really, really hard, and so if you out there know any Title I educators, you know that they tend to work really, really hard, and so I did experience definite burnout because I just worked incredibly hard. It was all about my kids for 3 straight years. It was all about my kids. And so at that point, I was, kind of reflecting on what I needed kind of in my life next. And I think that at that time I was like, I think I really need a break from teaching. I think that teaching has been really good for me, but I'm so tired all the time.
Yeah.
And there's got to be something else that I can do that's related to this work. So I was looking at other nonprofit jobs, and, just really not sure exactly what I wanted to do. But I was beginning to get rejections, and the conversation was often, wow, it's so amazing, all this work that you've done. This is great for kids and for the community, but you don't probably have the skill sets to do these other things. And kind of in the back of my mind, I'm like, teachers can do anything. I became a teacher, and I didn't have a teacher background, and I rocked it. I was teacher of the year at my school, and I had the highest data year after year for all of these different schools. And in the back of my head, when I heard that, I was like, that's probably a stereotype that people tend to hold about elementary school educators. So at that time, I had, Ryan and David. And so at Carolina, I'll introduce them now. At Carolina, there's kind of an entrepreneurship spirit, and David and Ryan were working on a project during that time period, and it was the Nugget Couch, and it was a solution to the dorm room futon that everybody hated, everybody had at Carolina and would throw out year after year. And so at that time, it was the two of them working on this college futon out of the American Underground in downtown Durham, and they were not selling many. They had so many extras kind of on hand that I actually asked for one for my classroom in Durham, and my kids loved it. And it was so core to classroom culture. They would build on it, jump on it, and it became kind of this like incentive for play and for, you did a great job on the test today, you can go play on the Nugget. And so it was this awesome piece of furniture that they really took to. And when I was kind of getting these rejections, I was like, let me go kind of just ask them, is it okay if I could kind of just join you for an internship? Because I'm getting these rejections. I know I'm super qualified. I know I can do anything I put my mind to, but people are telling me that, that's cute that you're a teacher, and they're not really taking me that seriously. And so I was also kind of like a begging and pleading, even though they're my friends. It was kind of like a, please let me come in and do an internship for you. I don't know what exactly I could do, but I see you have an Instagram account. Maybe I could do something with Instagram. I have a good eye, and I see that, you're creating furniture. Like, I could help you with the photo shoots, and, just throwing out all these different options. And one of my favorite quotes from David around that time was, I don't know, Instagram, that might not be the direction we want to take this. Because they were kind of more aggressively looking at being in retail and being in like a rooms to go situation. I was like, no, not rooms to go. Like, come on, we got other things we got to do with this. So basically, I joined them as a summer intern to work on their social. And within 2 months, we were at like 10,000 Instagram followers. And
where did you start?
I think when he handed me the account, it was at like 1,000. So we got to 10,000 pretty quickly, and it was organic followers using some just real hustler kind of tactics, things that, if you're a teacher, you're used to being scrappy with money, with resources. And so applying that to kind of this task of growing the Instagram account was pretty easy for me, because I was used to being a hustler in the classroom. And really, truly from there, like, the rest is history. Yeah, so that's kind of the beginning, and that's kind of how it took off. And we're now at, I think the last time we talked, we were in the 200s, and we're now at 320,000 Instagram followers, and we are constantly sold out. And we are
the last time we talked, you were at 200,000. Is that what you're saying?
320,000. You're
now at 320,000.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me just stop you. Let's just so those listening can just take a deep breath with this story. And this was important to lay this foundation, and it is a continuum, because there are key pivotal moments, and I just want to kind of extract them really quickly, that I find, this is part of why I find your story so inspiring, is that there are moments in here where many of us would have believed the lies that were told to us. Oh, you don't have the skills to do this work. I'm not sure why It's really cute. Like some of the things that you're saying. Even David was like, he didn't really trust your advice initially. Like, I don't think we should really do Instagram. So there are moments where pseudo experts or people who you should be listening to because they're qualified and you went to them for advice or you went to them for a job, told you that it couldn't be done, it was the wrong direction, and you trusted your gut, I think, maybe. And I think more importantly, so I want you to react to that. Some of it was your gut, but I think more importantly, it's your lived experience. You said to me that, or to us, that I'm a teacher. We do all, this is what we do. We can do anything, right?
Yeah.
So if you had that mindset, like, okay, well, you might believe that, but I don't, and you pressed forward. And I find that remarkable. So just talk to me about, I don't know, that's not a question.
No, but
Wow.
I think it's common. I think it's common for people to have recognized a time period in their life. Maybe it was college, maybe it was med school, maybe it was being a single parent, maybe it was just having your first child.
Wow.
A time period in your life where you recognize that there was like massive growth for you. And maybe that's not like a career thing. Maybe it's just, having a child, but it's still, you recognize something that you got through that was difficult. For me, what that looked like was I was curious about education, but I was not an educator by trade. So I took tests to become an educator. That's how the program worked. And that's scary. And that's a big jump. And walking into a classroom as a 22-year-old, and not having a formal education background was a big risk. And I learned a lot. Those kids taught me a lot. But looking back on that was really, really crucial to my success now at Nugget, because I was able to make that jump and got through it. And looking back on it, recognized I was a hustler. I got it done. I learned from everybody. I asked tons of questions. I found the peers that I needed to find. I found the mentors that I needed to find. And so when I was getting those kind of rejections or anything that felt like a stop sign, I road to reinvention. There you go. I didn't really, it kind of really truly rolled off of me because I knew what I had gone through to get to that point. And you're right. Maybe 10% of it was gut instinct. Like I have to take the next step forward. I don't know what it is. I have to go forward. So you're not going to stop me. But the reason it doesn't affect me emotionally is because I've learned a lot of strength from this big risk and success that I had from before. And so I think that's maybe what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's it. And I love this part too, because I talk about this in the work that I do, that if we don't take the time to reflect on our past and learn the lessons, and lessons don't have to be negative. Lessons like, I did that. Like I'm a total boss. Like I got through all of that. So what I'm trying to tackle in 21, or what I'm trying to tackle when I leave the classroom and do something new, I can do that too.
Yes.
Had you not taken any time to recognize that about yourself and sat in imposter syndrome, so that actually lives in the world of imposter syndrome, where where imposter syndrome comes forward is that folks haven't taken the time to do the reflection, so they don't have the proof within them to sort of push through those moments. So they let that resonate and think, I probably am not good enough, and maybe I should just wait. Let me give this another year to learn, right? Maybe we'll do it, but we may slow walk it because we're just unsure. And what I love is that you're very tenacious and quick about it and in there because you were certain of who you were and what you were made of. And part of this whole experience today is like, ladies, we need to get really clear on who we are. Who are you? Like, if I asked you who you were, are you going to tell me all the things you're not? Which is what I hear a lot. Well, I'm not. I'm like, doesn't ask you that. I'm asking you, who are you? So that when you do get challenged and those moments are met with questionable characters, or, like where people don't believe in you, you believe in yourself. And that is so, so key.
I think one thing that we talked about before that I didn't mention this time is, it wasn't all rosy. It wasn't all easy. The biggest challenge during that leap from leaving the classroom to working for a small business or a startup was, my boss was sad to see you go. I don't know if this is the right decision. I wonder if we could have done anything differently. Sad to see you go. And, he understood though. But my peers, was my cohort of teachers that I loved and worked with. They really struggled to understand why an excellent teacher, especially a Latina, teacher that's teaching Black and brown children, why would you leave the classroom? You're so good at it. And there was a little bit of guilt kind of a sign there that I struggled with. And so that I knew I had to leave. I knew I was burnt out. I knew that I had given my all and I had to work on the next thing. But kind of the cohort of teachers my age were just questioning it. And I actually did lose some friendships over it because they gave me the kind of guilt that was, are you really going to make the same kind of change that you've made in these children's lives working in the capitalist system? Are you really going to make change? Are you really going to be able to impact people's lives? And at that time, I had no answer. I didn't know if I was, but I just knew that teaching was always going to be there. But kind of my energy that I currently have, wasn't always going to be there. And so that's all I knew for sure. But that was a really difficult time for me, was saying goodbye to those people that really valued me for my work in the classroom.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And there's just 21 Days of Reinvention, we just finished that. The very first day was all about, are you comfortable being uncommon? And I said on that first day, if you're not uncomfortable being uncommon, you will have a really hard time with the next 20 days because you're not practiced in, or not willing to take the practice of getting out of a comfort zone and sort of living on the margins. Living on the margins is where all this cool discovery happens. It can be scary, but it's like, that's where all the great adventure lives. That's where all the new lessons are. That's like where the next thing is, like the big idea. They live out there. You have to sort of be able to walk out to those edges to sort of see what's next. And in your case, you did that. You went all the way out to the edge and then you stepped over. You said leap, right? You took the leap and people were like, I don't get it. And so that can be really difficult. I think and I don't know the answer for that, right? I mean, we do have to, we will have seasons in our career and in our life with different people. And hopefully you've inspired some of those folks along the way, right? That's all that you can hope, because the work that you're doing now is valuable and it delivers great joy to families across the country, across the world, I suspect. And so you are doing a great service. And as a Latina, as a founder of the 11th fastest growing company in America, you are an example to women across the country and the world about taking these leaps of faith and being able to build and develop and grow something from concept to reality. And so many people need to see that. That's huge. That's why I love talking to you, because you're very humble and kind of modest about this story. And it is a big story to me. To me, it is really special. And it means a lot that you would take the time to talk to us about it. Let's talk about what's next. And then I want to get into a speed round of some fun things with you. Like, and I also have a question about your morning routine. So why don't we start there? Tell me about your morning, if you have one. Like, I think that our listeners, our audience is like trying to get these like little nuggets about how do you set your day up. And everybody thinks about it differently. I'm curious how you think about it.
I wish it was better. I am I think, and that's why I love what you're doing right now, is because, I took that leap and I might seem like the finished product right now, but I'm absolutely not. I'm going through, all of these reinvention steps along the way. I think we're all constantly working and constantly evolving. So having a better morning routine is something that I would absolutely like, to be honest with you. If I can be completely honest, I wake up and I'm jumping right into work because we are in a high growth mode and I have a ton of employees that I need to support and I want to be the best I can for them right now. And I'm just running until I can get to, holiday break. but yeah, like it's not excellent yet, and I need it to be. So I don't have a nugget to offer you on that at this time, but hopefully.
That's okay. I actually love that you're being vulnerable. I love that. I mean, no one that we have on here today is perfect. No one is perfect. So I love that you're sort of like, listen, I don't really have that figured out. That's okay. And I think that it's very relatable. And the other thing is, when we do get into our routines and we have this like miraculous morning routine, it doesn't last long because things get derailed. There's this thing about consistency, right? And discipline and finding what works and tinkering with our lives so that it works for us, and that our lives are most optimal. And what I do might not work for what in your world, right? I think the key is that we do strike a healthy balance. And, this is sort of like me to you, like for 2021, I would encourage you, because you're only going to continue to go up. I mean, the work and the orders, the sales, that stuff is just going to it's never going away. That's the business we're in now. There's only one Hannah and we all need you, right? So like tinkering with your 21 to add a few things that really are for you, I think will be really special. We'll check in on that next year and see.
Well, I'm not great at mornings. I jump right into work, but really great at evenings.
Okay, well, tell us about that. Does it include wine?
Yes. No, but so yeah, no, it's work is it's crazy. It's crazy all the time, and absolutely right. And so I'm not great in the mornings, but I have really hard stops in the evening. And that's because I have dogs and they are my babies and they tell me when it's time to stop. So that's a great reminder to, when they're barking at you, it's like, okay, so we go for a walk, and then, I always am making dinner, and I try to really like find excellent extra recipes online with tons of steps, because that's a great way to just make sure you're focused on something. And it feels so, I guess I feel really successful after I finish a recipe, because, then you get to enjoy it after, and that you've made every step of the way, you've made that happen, and it feels so scientific. And a lot of my work, I think, is really creative and all over the place, but I think creating a recipe and following the steps and then getting to sit down and eat it, it feels really nice. And so, a walk with the dogs and then making something from scratch at home is definitely my evening routine, and it makes me stop working.
Girl, you got me beat. That is great. So your evening routine is actually like on 10. That's fantastic. Yes. That you walk and that you make dinner. Most Americans, I don't think, do that anymore. I don't know. I don't. Like, if you were to audit my day, you would be like, Jess, how can you sit up here and talk about these routines when your routines constantly are in flux? And the truth is, we all want to be better tomorrow than we are today. And so we should all be talking about it and getting the nuggets to try to tinker, to make it work for you. And so that was really helpful. That's awesome. Does it include wine at dinner?
Yeah, I might.
Sometimes, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So what's next for you or for Nugget? Like, what's the one thing maybe in 21 that you're looking to tackle? It can be professional. It can be personal. Like, I don't know, I want to learn Italian or something. It doesn't have to be all about work, but like, what's the thing you're trying to do next?
The thing I'm trying to do next, so with Nugget, we're expanding like crazy and we're hiring like crazy. And so I love hiring excellent women. And so I think that I'm just looking to expand my team. There's not a lot of, women in leadership in the kind of manufacturing space. And so I'm always looking for that, adding that diversity to my team. And so, so that's definitely a big priority for me, is making sure we have lots of awesome teammates on Team Nugget. Personally, so, I head up product at Nugget. And so that means I'm involved in all the new patterns and colors and collaborations and new products. And so you guys will see a lot of great things coming from us this year. I'm really excited to release those. But that is because I have a design eye and I have talent when it comes to designing. And so that's definitely something that this leap going into Nugget made me realize. So I went from being the director of marketing, and I was also the director of customer experience for many years. The transition, another kind of internal leap that I took was I, had a conversation and I said, I need to be the head of product because I've made these big product changes and I have a passion for this and I'm good at this. And so personally, I'm going to lean into that a little bit more. So I just bought my first house and I'm going to Airbnb. It has a mother-in-law suite, so I'm going to Airbnb it. And so I'm going to renovate the new space and put it on Instagram and create my little side hustle through that Airbnb. So that is a big goal of mine this year, and I'm really pumped about it because it lets me, be business Hannah, be social Hannah, and be design Hannah, kind of all in one.
I love that. I'm so excited. I do Airbnbs as retreats when I'm writing, so I'll have to come and see your new space when it's ready. When do you think it'll be ready?
I don't know. I'm just gonna enjoy the process.
That's right. No rush. It's therapeutic too, right?
Mine's on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, we do this thing at the end, or at the beginning, whenever I feel like doing it. Actually, it's a little speed round of things that are just, not so much about the work, but just about you. So, and some curiosities I have. All right. So, if you could write a book about your life, what would the title be and why?
So this is a book I actually do want to write.
Okay.
And it came to me like, I don't know, like August last year. But it's going to be called Big Kids. And it's going to be about kind of our journey with entrepreneurship and also creating a product for parents or for kids for parents and marketing it to parents. So learning how to market to adults who are actually just big kids has been kind of my golden nugget, something I'm really talented at. And so I want to share about that for other entrepreneurs.
Big Kids is perfect. It's like all the things. Okay, so you're going to write this.
Yes.
Book. And that is the title. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about the apps on your phone. If you could only have 3 apps on your phone, what would you have? What are the most important?
Number 1, absolutely Instagram. That is how we built a multi-million podcast. I give credit where credit's due. It's an excellent app. So gotta be Instagram. Number 2, already referenced it. For my Gen Z, it's TikTok. Yep. Absolutely love it. I think it's a great app. The algorithm, a little, interesting. It can be addictive, and maybe there's some downsides to that. But I love the TikTok app. And then number 3, obviously with the Airbnb that I plan, I love Airbnb. I think it's such a great app. I love the technology. I love the adventure spirit of it. And I love the, designs that you get to go experience within someone's home. It's really fun for me. And then I always discover new products, like a new comforter, new couch that I'm like hitting up the host. Where did you get that? That's fun for me.
That's so cool. I love that. Okay, so those are 3 good ones. Let's talk about, we didn't discuss this, but let's talk about like the music you love to listen to. What's your music kind of go to?
So everyone that knows me knows the answer to this because I've only listened to like 3 musicians since college. It's like the same 3 musicians. Yeah. And it's just like they're all I listen to. Okay. Which yeah. So
hear this.
It's a smooth kind of R&B, just like really chill. Janae Aiko.
Yeah.
Have you heard of her? Yeah. Lonnie.
Love her. Yeah. Okay. It's like kind of in the same vein.
Yeah. Yes, that's my girlfriend. And then Ariana is. Yeah. I am just an absolute stan for her. She's my queen. She's the Mariah of
high ponytail. I don't think I've ever seen her with her hair all the way down. I see her half ponytail. I see
gorgeous.
Yeah, she is, and she's so talented. Okay, those are good. Those are great women. They're total bosses. And then, is there any tip or trick that you want to leave our audience today? Those women who are looking to start a new business, who are thinking about a personal transition in their life, who maybe want to move from one side of the country to the other. What do you want to leave them around just the courage to do that work?
That's such a great question. For some reason, the first thing that kind of comes to my mind is just community. I have found in all of these ventures and risks and jumps, leaning on my community and being vulnerable with them in order to, get some advice or whatever it is, has really benefited me always. And that looks different all the time. When I was moving into a studio apartment in Miami and I had absolutely no money, leaning on like everyone I knew to like get some pieces for my apartment and saying, I have no money for this, but if you ever come down to Miami, you can stay for, and I was able to furnish my entire apartment, and I think that takes kind of being vulnerable and kind of letting any ego go, to be like that with people. But I think just like really finding that community that you can reach out to and be very vulnerable with, it always pays back in dividends. So
I love that. I love that you said community. I wasn't expecting that. And it made me be like instantly reflective of
Right.
what we're sort of creating and building here around this work. So that we are in a community right now, right? Like we see each other, it's virtual, it's all the things, but we share something because we're here. Yeah.
It's never been easier, with digital to access that community. So if it's a Facebook group, that you're a part of, or I don't know, like an alumni group that through email or something like that, like always reaching out to those. I just had a garage sale. It was a COVID-friendly garage sale, but I really needed to get rid of a lot of stuff. Yeah. And it was like the best thing I have ever done. Like that was really huge for me because I was able to lean on my community to get this stuff out in a healthy way. It's not going to end up in the landfill. And it was awesome and it felt good. And so I think, being vulnerable and then trying to identify what community it is that can help you out.
Love it. So good. I love that. Well, as always, you're a delight, a wealth of information, constantly inspiring me. I've heard this story a number of times now and have been a part of it in some ways. And my son used to be a model for the Nugget. Like he will always remind me that he was one of the first kids that got to get his picture taken with the Nugget. So it just feels like a part of the family. But yeah, I'm delighted. Thank you, Hannah, for your time with us today. And we will be watching you. So good luck, friend.
Oh, thank you so much. Follow us on Instagram at Nugget Comfort.
There it is. We will add that. That's awesome. We'll put it in the chat. All right. Bye, friend. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.